Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are checking out Mumei by Mumei. So this is an original song from Hololive English's Nanashi Mumei, and I'm excited to just jump right on into things. So let's hit play in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, okay. Those are some nice keys. Oh, nice. We've got a dynamic synth on our more ambient, like, bassy foundation, and then we have those awesome keys fluttering up high on the treble. That's a really nice synth. Okay, Japanese. Interesting demeanor there. Now she sounds more. Okay, so it's interesting. I'm getting hints of like her voice that I recognize, but we're getting this like a nasally but husky voice every now and then, like this demeanor, this timbre from her that I don't think I've actually heard from her. I don't keep up with her streams or karaoke's too often, but I have heard her sing a couple times, and this is a very unique demeanor I'm hearing from her. I actually really like it. I'm interested to see if she plays a little more on it. Oh. Okay. Nice strings coming in. Interesting. Okay, so we actually took away the strings on the build-up and we went for a different key backing to emphasize the rhythm instead of letting the drama fill the mix. Instead, we just went for the rhythm and we went for more of a melancholic build-up instead. And also that voice right there, I actually really like how she's hitting those treble tonalities, because it's very well enunciated, very good projection, but it's still very light and airy. She's still able to keep that bounciness in her voice, that light airiness in her voice, but the impact is still conveyed. We're still getting that those hard-hitting vocals, that emotion in her voice, which is awesome. Alright, nice harmonies. Okay. Using a wave synth for a breakdown. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so we're going for a synth breakdown into a chorus. That's very interesting. That was not what I expected with the keys and how vocal-centric it was. I was not expecting a synth-centric payoff for the build-up, which is an interesting choice. I'm interested to see if I like that, because usually I'm not a big fan of that, especially when we have such a big focus on a talent, on a VTuber that's the face of the song. You usually want the big moment, the big climax of the song to be vocally centric, to show off the talent. So I'm interested to see if we build up on the synth or if we use the synth as just like an interjectory chorus, and then we go back into the emotion and drama. The classic bass vocal. Nice arpeggiated synths. Nice. The classic NCS pause. Alright. Alright, yep. Okay, so like as I mentioned before, we're using that synth as like an interjectory chorus, and then we're going back into the emotion and focusing on that drama and that melancholy, using those bassier tonalities and the synth to just convey this big moment, that emotional impact, but we're not really using the vocals to pressure that or to emphasize that. We're just letting the instrumentation take a little interjection there, which is okay. But I do think it would have been really cool if we had gotten a big dramatic, maybe play more on those strings that we were referencing earlier. But we're like less than halfway through, so let's keep playing it. That is a nice tonality. Nice. That was a clean lift. Mm. Nice. That was really good. What the heck? That was nice. I like that little, she let her voice trip up there and then she like caught it as she kept. That was awesome. That was a really nice. I love when artists use those like little emotional hicks and they purposefully interject or interrupt the consistency of their vocals to add that emotion in. That was beautiful right there. Okay. Listen to that mix going up. I see. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay, this is a build-up that I like way more than the synth build-up before. This sounds great. I love the percussive. The percussives hit so much harder because we've been so focused on those keys as our percussive supplement. You know, and especially with the synth, you know, the synth and the vocals make the entire track more airy and light. So those keys are really our percussive supplement. You know, those are holding us together. But with the introduction of drums, you know, a percussive now, everything hits so much harder. This is a perfect time to introduce a percussive as well. Though I am a little bit sad about that synth track before, because yeah, that's just a personal taste thing. But I think it would have been awesome if we had used a percussive earlier with the synth track. But still, I mean, this is still awesome. Nice. We're gonna... Not gonna reference the strings again. We're pulling back to the keys. Oh, but we're building up again here. This is probably gonna be a dissension though. Are we gonna have a build-up? Oh, okay. 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 That was interesting place to put a bass vocal. Hey, that was Mumei. I forgot that was what her name meant. I forgot her name. It was, yeah, I forgot that was what her name meant. That was really good. That was very, very solid. I have to say, you know, obviously not everything in the mix is gonna align with my personal preference, but overall composition wise, that was stellar. But in terms of like my 2 cents, my personal preferences, the little nitpickings, I do have to say that I am not a huge fan of the synth. Well, not the synth. The big synth moments, the big synth build-up, or the chorus moments, because it's so much acoustic build-up, and then having the synth just have a massive pulse. We get more of those bass tones, which is great, but I'm not a huge fan of how we hit that chorus because it's a lot of buildup. There's a lot of tension throughout the song, a lot of emotion, and the problem with those big synth like EDM-esque choruses that are like devoid of clean vocals is that it tends to take away from that emotional impact. And for a song like this, it's okay because we have so much emotion, we have so much personality in the tracks throughout that it doesn't feel impersonal. But for most songs, I will say that it's not the best thing to rely on. And because of how much emotion, how much personality was being put into the song, I would have really liked if we had gotten more of that, a big swell, a big mix fill up that was more acoustic and more of Mumei's voice. And we were referencing those strings. We had those strings so beautifully placed in the mix. It would have been perfect to just let those build up alongside the percussive and then let those take the spotlight for the keys, do a reference melody. So we could have had the strings reference the keys because we have the percussive introduced. And now that we have the percussive introduced, we can replace that supplement that the keys were providing and let the strings take the melodic element of those keys. So now we've basically replaced that key buildup with the piano and the drums. Or sorry, not the piano and the drums, the strings and the drums. We've replaced the keys. And so that can be our payoff. That can be our payoff for all this buildup. And then we can have that big moment, that big vocal swell, a little like cutout, instrumental cutout, and then fade back in with those treble-based keys and descend down. That would have been probably my favorite way for the chorus to be handled. But that doesn't mean it was done badly here. That's just like my personal preference, what I would have done if I was composing a chorus for this composition here. But the synth was still handled very well. It was mixed quite well. I was surprised at how high those bass digitized vocals were mixed in. It was pretty fun though. I don't have any complaints about that. And then we had a lot of digitizal interjections with the some chorals and just some little interjections where she would just say Mumei and and that would just be repeated and woven into the instrumental, which isn't bad at all. I was a big fan of how that was mixed. When it's mixed a little bit, when it's overdone in a mix, it can definitely be just a bit much, But the way it was handled here was really nice. I'm a big fan of how this mix was handled and just the general atmosphere. It's nice to see how this was approached, and Mumei did an amazing job of matching the aesthetic of this composition with her voice. We got some very unique demeanors, or really two demeanors that I noticed. I've heard her sing a couple times before, I believe, and she has a very nice, like, huskier voice. I'd say anytime she kind of comes out of that airiness in her voice, it can tend to be a little bit uncomfortable, or it just needs a solid bass in the instrumental, But when she's in that airy, husky demeanor of her voice, it's her comfort zone. She takes the stage there, and this song really played on that strength of hers, and it allowed her to show off the range of her vocals, the range of her vocal demeanor, not necessarily pitch, though we did get a lot of range and pitch here. We got to see the range and how she can change her voice in that husky demeanor and having that same aesthetic in her voice. So that was really awesome. I like how we were able to see how she got more nasally even when she was coming down low, and then how she was able to almost get childlike with those treble tonalities and then quickly change between that mid-tone, that treble tonality, and then come back down to that nasally, huskier tone. It was super comfortable to see her go through all these different voices. So yeah, that was very impressive, and it did a great job of showcasing her vocals, which is what you want in a VTuber song. If you've been watching, you've probably heard me say that a few times in different videos now. But when you're making a VTuber song, you want to showcase the talent, you want to showcase the vocalist, and so this did an amazing job of that. Again, branching off of that and kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, that was why I was a little. So I was surprised that they went for a synth instrumental heavy chorus instead of really letting her belt out and showcase the vocals and let that emotional buildup come out in a big moment for her voice. But considering the theme of the song and it's like an enduring, melancholic, reminiscent, nostalgic. It's an enduring song, so it makes sense that they didn't have the vocals really cry out or belt out. But from a composition standpoint, that would have been what I had preferred to hear. But overall, I mean, this was an awesome song. This was super, super fun. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. As always, feel free to recommend more things for me to check out in the comments below. And feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff like this. So thank you very much. I'll see you all next time.